The Dodgers, yes, the Dodgers, yes, those Dodgers match up perfectly with the Tigers in a Tarik Skubal trade, according to an ESPN insider, which has baseball fans everywhere running around the hallways like Kermit the Frog with their hands flying in the air. Good or bad for baseball, Caroline Fenton, if the Dodgers go out and acquire Tarik Skubal?
Well, let me just use recent history here. Even before Tarik Skubal to the Dodgers was even an option or a potential reality, we've already been talking about how the Dodgers are bad for baseball. The fact that the Dodgers can just pay more than everybody else, the fact that the Dodgers can just collect star players like they're infinity stones, that is bad for baseball. So Tarik Skubal, arguably one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, up there with the Miz, up there with Paul Skeens, up there with all of the great ones right now in Major League Baseball. If he goes to the Dodgers, fresh off of a World Series, then that'll only continue to perpetuate that idea, that deflating perception that the Dodgers are just going to win everything. That what's the point of even trying? What's the point of even trying to go all in at the trade deadline? What's the point of even paying all of these guys all of this money if the Dodgers are just going to continue to get better? They didn't need Kyle Tucker. They got Kyle Tucker because they felt like it. They thought, I hope that'd be a fun, shiny toy. That'd be a fun cherry on top. And if they get Tarik Skubal, I mean, that just continues it. So I know that the Detroit Tigers are not necessarily in the business of quote unquote saving baseball. The Detroit Tigers are in the business of saving the Detroit Tigers, of doing what is best for them. Who can offer us the best package in a trade package? Like that's what the Tigers should do. But for me, as a baseball fan, I think it's bad for baseball if the Dodgers just continue to get better time after time after time, transaction after transaction after transaction, because you're going to start to get apathy, I think, around the rest of Major League Baseball.
This is where I constantly say big brands sell. Big brands and big names matter.
You're already
hear
a big
you.
brand.
Yeah, but
You
here's
don't
the
need
thing.
to get bigger.
The rate I had Chat GPT help me with this because I certainly couldn't find enough ratings information to look at. I go to ratings all the time because two things here. Number one, baseball fans are old, so they still watch TV. All right, so TV ratings matter to baseball. Number two, I think ratings give you an idea of what people are watching, even though it's not the end all be all. That being said, I had the Chat GPT do its best to try and get me a comp TV rating for Shohei Ohtani when he was with the Los Angeles Angels, or the Angels of Anaheim, whatever we want to call them now, versus when he is with the Los Angeles Dodgers. His TV ratings have essentially tripled in that time, which is just a reminder that everybody says they don't want stars on the Dodgers, but the minute stars go to the Dodgers, everybody watches the damn thing. So, like, I hear you that there's this discourse that it's bad for baseball, but is it bad for baseball when we're all sitting here mesmerized by a World Series that's absolutely down to the wire with the Dodgers taking on the Blue Jays, two teams that spend a lot of money and two teams that have huge audiences? Like, is that really bad for baseball? Is it really bad for baseball if the Tigers are a little less meaningful? It isn't. It's bad for Tigers fans. It's bad for the little guy that everybody wants to root for, but this just feels so disingenuous. Everybody says they want to root for the little guy, but nobody's flocking to watch the little guy at the same level. Now, this is where you say, but what if the little guy had the stars? The little guy has had the stars. Hell, I can't even call Anaheim a little guy, but Anaheim has sat here for how many years, whatever we want to call the Angels, with two superstars that nobody really watched. And all we spent the time that they were on that team talking about was, when are they going to get rid of those guys and send them to teams where they can actually win? Then they go to teams where they can win, and everybody says, oh, my God, this sucks for baseball. You know what I want to see? I want to see the best players in the world have a chance to win at the highest level, because unfortunately, we've decided that anything less than a championship means your entire career was a waste. So we fault players when they chase rings, but then we fault players on teams when their teams don't win enough. I'm not going to be a part of that. If Tarik Skubal wants to be a Dodger and the Dodgers want Tarik Skubal, let it happen. Because number one, it gets him one step closer to a World Series championship, which if he doesn't win, somehow stupidly somebody's going to fault him for it. Number two, it puts him where more people are going to watch him. And if more people watch him, I think that's good for baseball. So across the board, not only do I think it could happen, I want it to happen. I want Tarik Skubal to go to the Dodgers, and I want the Dodgers to continue to build this ultimate villain of a baseball team. And if somebody can take him down, more power to him. And if somebody can't, we'll still watch because we are absolutely beholden to the drama that comes with big market baseball with big stars.
Do you want Jacob Mizorowski to go to the Dodgers?
Sure.
Do you think Fernando Tatis Jr. should go to the Dodgers? Then what's
sure?
Because I think above all else, and I never believe that parity actually exists in sports. I don't care how much the worst teams get the number one overall pick. I don't care how many times you want to have a salary cap. Parity doesn't and will never exist in sports. But I think the illusion of parity is an incredibly important thing because I think the belief that on any given year, any team can win. I think that's a good thing for leagues. We've talked about that with the NBA. 8 different champions in the last 8 seasons. I think that's good for interest. I think that's good for the health of the sport. Because I remember a time in college football when it was Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and then everybody else. And that was a kind of deflating and defeating feeling, right? Of course, we still watched because we still love our favorite teams and we still love college football. But I think now, living in a world of college football with all of its warts and all of the things that probably could be improved upon in this sport, the idea that Indiana can win a national championship has now ignited and excited a totally different population of college football fans because now no longer is it, okay, well, we're not going to beat Alabama, so what's the point? Now the idea is we can actually win because the small guys have been represented on the biggest stage and have actually won national championships. So while I don't buy into the idea that the Dodgers are bad for baseball, because I think that's just kind of overlooking other things. It's overlooking the fact that the World Series went down to the wire with a quote unquote small market Blue Jays team. I know Toronto's not a small town, but it is a small market. I don't necessarily agree with that belief, but I do think that the sentiment that exists, the feeling that's there, because the feeling is there, I think that is bad for baseball. So while parity will never exist, the idea of it, I think, is a good thing. The idea that my team can actually win is a good thing because I am a fan of a team in the NL and I have this, excitement on one end of the Cardinals are so much better of a team than I thought that they were going to be going into the season. And that's fun and exciting for me as a fan. But then there's also this big dark gray storm cloud hanging over my head of, but they're not going to beat the Dodgers.
I don't disagree with the concept. I love the way you said that. It was beautifully said for all of us that love sports. I just continually go back and remind the world that Rangers Diamondbacks in 2023 was the lowest rated World Series in history. Dodgers,
but there's
a
a
couple of
large
years
gap
later,
between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. There are other teams in there between the big bad Dodgers and the, I'm sorry to my Diamondback fan husband, the irrelevant Diamondbacks.